1. Sam. What in the world? I muttered, when, less than 5 minutes after I fluffed my pillow and climbed into bed, I heard a loud knock at my door. Several knocks, in fact, actually more like pounding. I picked up the fancy cast iron omelet pan I'd been given as a gift but hadn't used once, except as a weapon. Not that I'd used it for that either. "Go away, or I'll call the cops," I shouted. "Sam, it's me. Open the door. It's bloody cold out here." "Ugh," I growled. I set the pan down, then momentarily reconsidered. If I did hit Beau with it, maybe he'd learn not to show up again in the middle of the night. I should tell him I was already in bed, but that wouldn't deter him. Maybe if I said I was sick. No, that wouldn't thwart him either. Under normal circumstances, I'd consider following through with my threat and actually call the local sheriff. However, Beau's mother had died a few days ago, on Christmas, and according to him, he needed his best friend, me. More likely, I was the only friend who would let him in after midnight. Therefore, I'd been promoted to best status. If only it came with a salary, then everything I put up with might be worth it. I looked up at the ceiling. I didn't mean that, I said, in case there was a higher power who'd read my thoughts. "Sam, open the door." I scowled, flipped the deadbolt, and unlocked the rest of the devices I'd felt necessary to install as a woman living alone. "Hi, Beau," I sighed as much as said when he swept past me. "Who are you talking to?" He looked around my one-room plus kitchen and bath apartment, then back at me. "No one," I snapped. "I was in bed. Asleep." Most people would apologize for waking me. Not Beau, though. Instead, he asked me if I wanted anything to drink after he'd gone into my kitchen to look for something for himself. There should be a picture of him in the dictionary next to the word entitled. Maybe I'd draw one in and show it to him. "Did you not hear me say I was in bed?" I motioned to where Wanda, my cat, lay snuggled in the blankets like I wished I was. He pulled one of the two stools sitting near the kitchen counter out and took a seat, then motioned to the other. When I bought them, I'd thought long and hard about purchasing more than one, especially with how expensive they were. At the time, I told myself I might have visitors occasionally, so why not splurge? Now, I regretted it. Rather than sitting on the bed, which would only make me want to crawl under the covers more than I was already longing to, I sat next to him. Space was tight, so he shifted my stool until I faced him, and then put his long legs on either side of mine. He held out the glass of wine he'd poured. "You didn't answer when I asked if you wanted some. We can share." "No, thanks." I covered my mouth when I yawned. Maybe I shouldn't have. Why be polite when he never was? "I'm really tired, Beau." "Sleep," he said, motioning to the pull-out couch that served as my bed. "I will as soon as you leave." "It wouldn't be the first time you've nodded off when I was here." "Why are you here, Beau?" The playful look that had been on his face since he walked in quickly morphed into one of sadness. "Can't sleep." I got it. I really did. In the weeks following my mom's death, I hadn't been able to sleep either. "We could watch a movie," I offered. "You wouldn't mind?" I shook my head and rolled my eyes, as if it would make a difference if I said I did. "What shall we watch?" he asked, grabbing the remote for the flat-screen television he'd purchased, then mounted on the wall for me. Actually, it was more for him since I almost never watched it unless he was here. "You pick," I said like I always did. While he flipped through the channels, I fluffed my pillow, stretched my arms over my head, then got in bed and pulled the sheet and blanket up to my chin.